So, John Petrucci, the lead guitarist of Dream Theater, really needs no introduction. He has been hailed as an icon since the 90s for his virtuosism, his technique, his good taste in instruments and music, and by just bringing a new level of guitar playing to the table. But something that people often gloss over when talking about him is the way he wires his guitars that is very distinctive, and to my knowledge, no one did it before, which is why I call it the Petrucci wiring. I did some research on the topic and I don't claim to know everything about it, but if you feel that I missed something or that I just omit some information that you might know about, feel free to hit me up, figuratively speaking please, on the comments. What is actually the Petrucci wiring? So, being very simple and to the point, is when you are in the middle position of your guitar using both the neck and the bridge humbuckers, but only the inner coils, that being the north coil of your bridge pickup and the south coil of your neck pickup, activated. But first, I think that a history lesson is needed. So from at least when Dream Theater released their debut album When Dream and Day Unite in '89 until the point of the tour of the record Scenes from Memory in 2000, John Petrucci was sponsored by Ibanez Guitars. He had his own signature instrument that was called the JPM 100, JPM meaning John Petrucci model. It was a gorgeous, beautiful instrument that was wired in what I am calling the Petrucci wiring. So the JPM 100 had a 3-position pickup switch that you could switch between neck pickup, the bridge pickup, and the middle position, which was already wired in the Petrucci wiring. You had no option in having a kind of Les Paul middle position in which both pickups, both full humbuckers are active at the same time. As I said, on the tour of the record Scenes from Memory, that would be at least in 2000, John made the transition from Ibanez to Ernie Ball Music Man. And his first instrument that he released by that brand is the JP6, which is still in production. The JP6 is wired in the same way. You have neck, bridge, and then middle position with both pickups split and only the inner coils active. Something that I think it is important to bring is that this type of wiring in which you have both pickups split and only the inner coils active is very interesting because it gives you on clean channels on amplifiers a really beautiful, chimey, clean tone, especially when you use that type of wiring with a very clean amp, such as the Roland JC120. That is exactly the amp that John used to record the clean sections on Images of Words and Awake, often doubled with an acoustic guitar. But as you might know it, the JP6 is not the only instrument that John Petrucci has in collaboration with Ernie Ball Music Man. He has today the JP6, the JP15, the JP11, and the Majesty. And that's the interesting part because the JP11, the JP15, and the Majesty all have an option to access the Petrucci wiring. In all of these instruments, you have a push-pull knob on the tone that allows you to access this wiring. Otherwise, they are wired exactly like a Les Paul would, that being that on the middle position, both humbuckers are active at their full. That means that the JP6 is still the only instrument in which the Petrucci wiring on the middle position is not optional. It's on by default and I don't think you can really change it. You might be thinking now, wow geez, that's pretty nice, but how can I wire my guitar in this way? Well, that's not as straightforward as it might seem. The thing is, DiMarzio and Seymour Duncan pickups, when they are split, the default coil that gets active is the north coil. That means that if you split your neck pickup, only the north coil will be active, not the south coil as it is wired in the Petrucci wiring. So this is a diagram for 4-conductor wire pickups. I'm using the color coding of the DiMarzio pickups for pure convenience. Other manufacturers have their own color codes. Every individual coil has a start and a finish lead. That means that when you wire the start lead of a coil to the circuit, and the finish of that coil to the ground, only that coil is activated. And when you wire together the finish of the north coil with the finish of the south coil, the pickup becomes one single entity. A standard installation with the option of splitting the coils would go as following. The start of the north coil goes to the circuit, the start of the south coil goes to ground, and both north and south finishes get wired to a separate switch that can be shorted to ground. And when you activate that switch, shorting the finish of the north coil to the ground, you are excluding the south coil out of the circuit. And in this diagram that DeMarjo sent me in order to get the Petrucci wiring, you can see that actually the south finish goes to the circuit while the north finish goes to ground, and north and south starts actually go to the switch. And what that does is that when you switch to your single coil mode, both of the leads of the north coil get shorted to ground and the north coil gets grounded out of the circuit. So you will need to wire your neck pickup that way and your bridge pickup in the standard way in order to achieve this pickup configuration. I actually have two instruments that are wired this way, optionally of course, so I think I'm going to get them and show them to you. So this is my tally. It's a custom tally. I bought the parts, assembled it, and it's based after the Joe Duplantier Charville signature Telecaster. In this guitar I have a super distortion on the bridge and a liquefier on the neck, both DeMarjo pickups. And on the master volume knob there's a push-pull that allows me to switch from regular Les Paul wiring, is a 3-position, from the middle position being the Petrucci wiring. So when I installed the pickups for the first time, me and my caveman brain, knowing that only the north coil of the neck would be active when splitted, I actually inverted the pickup on a cavity, so I would have both of the inner coils active when split. Well, it worked, but it didn't really work the way that I planned. Because that's the thing. Interesting things about this type of wiring is that you have both of your pickups split to single coil pickups, but they are hum canceling, because that's the thing. Why do humbucker pickups cancel hum? Well, the short answer is that the coils, the north coil and the south coil, they are wired in different directions, so they cancel the noise of each other. And when you have the Petrucci wiring in your guitar, that means that you have the north coil of your bridge pickup and the south coil of your neck pickup wired in parallel, so they are canceling the noise of each other. The way that I first wire my Telecaster means that at first I had the north coil of the bridge pickup and the north coil of the neck pickup together in parallel, so they were not canceling each other out. If I used distortion while I was using this wiring, I would have a lot of hum, exactly like two single coils that are not wired, to be hum canceling. And this is the second guitar that I ever put this type of configuration in. This is actually my first guitar. It has a lot of history, has a lot of interesting things that maybe you should subscribe to see that if you want to. It's still the same thing, but the difference is that here I have a super distortion on the bridge, again, but a Seymour Duncan hot rails on the neck. So I don't have a push-pull in any of the individual volumes, but I have this mini switch. The down is normal wiring and up is Petrucci. Well, I hope you all enjoyed and potentially learned something from this video. It is not me playing, but I thought on making content a little bit different, a little bit more variation with the channel. I don't know where I want to take it. I had a ton of fun doing research on this topic, and I'm a big fan of Dream Theater and John Petrucci for that matter, so it's very interesting to see how artists that you look up to often do things, in their way. Thanks for sticking with me, and until next time. Bye!